God has plans to prosper you, give you hope and a future too. So let me remind you of what you have the power to do.
You've been on a journey, trying to find your way. Like the sun, you're rising, 'cause today's your day to unlock every gift inside. Let your potential flow. Don't let anybody kill your vibe. Time to bust up and show. Gotta keep on reaching, keep believing. Act like you know you can win. Live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra Mack. We've got wellness, church by phone. You don't even have to leave your home to be inspired. To rise a little higher with Cassandra Mack. They said you'd never make it, but you're still here. Kept on pushing through all your doubts and fears. Never let a hater see you sweat. Remember who you are. When they go low, let them reap what they sow while you go far. Gotta keep on reaching, keep believing. Baby, shine like a star. You can win, live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra Mack. If you got haters, they gon' hate. Keep your head up and just be great. It's your season, your winning season with Cassandra Mack. Rise up, time to get on your grind. Go after your dreams, no time to fall behind. Push till the end and never give in. It's your winning season, get ready to win. Keep moving forward and never look back. It's time to get motivated with Cassandra Mack. You can win, live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra Mack. We've got wellness, church by phone. You don't even have to leave your home to be inspired. To rise a little higher with Cassandra Mack.
Have you been feeling like the spiritual attacks in your life are getting stronger and stronger? They're actually becoming worse, even though you are praying, you are fasting, you are believing God for a turnaround in your situation? Well, I want you to know that as a believer, this is not uncommon. And today we're going to talk about why this happens. See, the spiritual attacks are getting stronger because you're becoming stronger. Now, this may sound odd if you're saying, how is it that I'm becoming stronger and I actually feel like giving up? I feel exhausted. I feel like I don't even want to pray anymore. I feel like I don't even want to pick up my Bible anymore. How can I be getting stronger when in fact I actually feel emotionally weaker? And the thing to keep in mind that feelings are not ultimate truth. And so, yes, we're going to experience the emotions, right? We're a human being. As human beings, we experience all of the emotions on the spectrum. There is a reason why the Bible tells us, do not be afraid, fear not, multiple ways, multiple times, because God knows the human being is going to encounter situations and circumstances where the emotion of fear will arise. There's a reason why the Bible tells us, do not be discouraged. Stay strong in the Lord. So the Bible would not have to tell us these things if these would not be real and present issues that would arise in our life. That there are going to be times in our life where we do feel discouraged, where there are going to be times in our life where we do feel overwhelmed and inundated, where we feel so stressed, so burnt out, so beaten down that we feel like we can't go on. But the reality is, as a believer, you absolutely can go on. If you are listening to this video under the sound of my voice, that is positive proof that you can go on because you are still alive and hearing. So here's why the spiritual attacks often get stronger as you are moving forward in your faith. And this is very important because the thing about Satan that you can never, ever, 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 that many evers forget is that he is the father of lies. He is the father of lies. And so he will lie to you by way of suggestions, impressions, and thoughts that pop into your mind to try to get you to believe that prayer is not working, to try to get you to believe that you should just give up, that you should just leave the faith altogether. This is a trick from the enemy. You got to remember, he's the father of lies. And not only that, according to John 10:10, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. But Christ comes so that we may have life and have life more abundantly. Now, stealing, killing, and destroying doesn't always have to be something tangible, right? Like your property or a wallet. It can be trying to steal your joy, trying to kill your confidence, trying to destroy your peace of mind and your faith. These are all things that Satan tries to steal, kill, and destroy in the life of the believer. And so why is it that the attacks are becoming stronger? Maybe you are being attacked in the area of people spreading lies about you. Maybe you are being attacked in the area of having a discord within your family unit, and it just seems to come out of nowhere, and there's so much discord and division in your family. Maybe you are being attacked in your finances, even though you know in your heart of hearts that God will supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory in Christ Jesus. And so you know that biblically, but still those fears in our mind pop up because we're human beings going through a human life experience. And so let's look at why these attacks may be happening to you so that you understand spiritually what's going on and not just looking at it from the perspective of how you feel emotionally, right? So number one, growth in God attracts opposition. Growth in God attracts opposition. So if you are coming to church by phone every Sunday, worshiping with us, sitting under the word, fellowshipping with us, asking for prayer in the different aspects of your life, you are growing in God. You are growing in God. If you are studying the word diligently, you are growing in God. If you are praying consistently, you are growing in the things of God. So do know that growth in God attracts opposition from the enemy. First Peter chapter 4, verses 12 and 13 says, "Dear friends," and I'm going to read you the NLT version. "Dear friends, don't be surprised of the fiery trials you are going through as if something strange were happening to you. Instead, be very glad, for these trials make you partners with Christ in his suffering." And so the scripture is letting you know, don't be surprised. Like, this should not be a shock to you when you go through the fire. This shouldn't be like you thinking something strange is happening. Instead, be very glad. Right now, glad is not necessarily like you're happy that this is occurring. So it's not that type of glad, but it is a glad in terms of be settled in your awareness that these type of trials make you partners with Christ in his suffering. And what's actually happening is you are being strengthened, because think about how gold has to go through a process of refinery in order to come out gold. It has to go through a very difficult process. Even diamonds have to go through a process in terms of growing from coal to diamonds, where they're going through extreme heat, extreme temperature, and then they come out diamonds. And so when you are coming out as a diamond in the spirit, taking off the old man of coal as an analogy and becoming a diamond in the spirit, that happens through growth. Because what starts to happen is that when you go through certain things, you become so spiritually resilient, so spiritually strong, that rarely can anything keep you down, because you have a foundation in God. And so when you begin to grow in your faith, you become a threat to the enemy. Satan doesn't attack what isn't growing. He targets what's advancing. And so if you were doing all of the evil and wicked things imaginable, there would be no reason for the enemy to oppose you. In fact, on the surface, your life would be pleasurable because you're not a threat to the enemy. Think about a celebrity that's doing every wicked, evil thing. They have all the money in the world, all the fame in the world, all the trappings of worldly success. On the surface, it seems like their life is totally pleasurable, but we don't know what's going on in somebody's heart and mind to know that they have peace. Those things usually they don't have. Their mental well-being, the emotional well-being. And so as you begin to grow in your faith, you become a threat to the enemy. So do know that. So growth in God is going to attract opposition from the enemy because you are being a light in the world. Why would Satan want you to shine your light in dark spaces? Why would Satan want you to be an example of integrity, an example of resilience to somebody else who's looking at your life and it is giving them strength? Actually, your testimony is their survival guide. Why would Satan want that? Just from a practical approach. 2, the stronger you get, the more resistance you will face. So this is another reason why you might be finding that the attacks are becoming so pervasive. So the stronger you get, the more resistance you face, right? So Ephesians 6:12 breaks this down for us, letting us know that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places in the heavenly realms. So as your spiritual muscles grow, the weight of the warfare increases, and actually it is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of spiritual maturity and impact. Think about when real wars are happening physically, right? When the opposing army is getting the advantage and they're getting stronger, what does the other army do? The other army is going to up the ante. They're going to up the ante because they realize the group that they are opposing is getting stronger. So they're going to try to take them down with even greater force. They're going to maybe even think about ambush attacks so that they can try to get them in a way where they're not expecting it and they can hurt them in the most brutal way possible. It's the same thing spiritually. So as you are growing stronger in your faith, as you're really discovering who you are in God, as you're beginning to self-actualize through Christ, being all that you can be, unlocking more of your potential, as you begin to not only tap the kingdom within, but as you begin to unlock more and more of your inner kingdom, right? Where you have the joy of the Lord, which is your strength, your inspiration, your motivation, your perseverance, your resilience, where you have the peace of God that superimposes itself on the conscious mind and surpasses what the analytical mind can actually understand. You are growing stronger. And so as you are growing stronger, the enemy is going to up the ante because you pose a threat. He wants to spread darkness. He wants to spread evil. He wants to spread wickedness. John 10:10 is clear. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. Christ comes so that we may have life and have life more abundantly. And so if the thief only comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and he's doing so through other people, sometimes our own thoughts and the emotional space we're in, then why in the world would he not want to further his agenda if that is the only reason why he comes? And so it's really important to understand spiritual warfare, that what we're wrestling against is not flesh and blood. That's what we can see. But we're really wrestling against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And so do know that you will increase warfare. And it doesn't mean your prayers are not working. Actually, it's the opposite. It means that your prayers are working. It is proof that your prayers are working. So when somebody's coming after you with everything that they've got, it is because you are growing stronger. They haven't taken you down. If they took you down, you would not be experiencing warfare because you would be down and out. So you're experiencing warfare because Satan hasn't won. He hasn't won in your life. And so this is why we have to be strong in the Lord, and we have to put on the whole armor of God daily. It's not like an occasional thing. It's an intentional thing daily. Number 3, your destiny. Please don't miss this. Your destiny disturbs and disrupts Satan's agenda. Now, what is his agenda? I just told you in John 10:10. He comes only, it says the thief comes, that's the only reason. His sole purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. Christ comes so that we may have life and have life to the full, have life more abundantly. So the enemy, you got to remember, he's been around a whole lot longer than you have. He sees your gifts, even if you don't know what your gifts are. This is why oftentimes you could be at a job and you will have haters that yield themselves to Satan, and they are coming at you with every negative, vile thing imaginable. And you were wondering, why are they bothering little old me? This doesn't make any sense. But you got to understand things spiritually, not naturally. It makes perfect sense spiritually, because they see your gifts, even if you don't see your gifts. They see your potential. They see what you could be, even if you can't see it. They see your light. Remember, they have a knowledge that comes from Satan. You have wisdom from up above, which is much stronger, but they have a knowledge that comes from Satan. There's a knowledge that comes from Satan when you are messing around in the kingdom of darkness. And so they can see. Now, they might not be able to verbally articulate every gift that you have, but what they can feel or sense is that there is something about you that threatens them, that disturbs them, that there is something about your level of integrity that exposes their lack of integrity. And it could be something as simple as you have a group at the job who, during lunch, they go to the cafeteria or the break room and they trash talk employees that they don't like, who are minding their business, not bothering them, never did anything wrong, but because of sheer envy, they trash talk them. When you see that, you get up and remove yourself. That alone, you're not saying anything, but you're saying a whole lot by your behavior. Removing yourself sends the message that I don't want to participate in trash talking people. And so that highlights the fact that they are behaving in a way that is unkind. So they can see that light in you. When you take the time to do your job with excellence, to learn the skill sets that you need to do your job well, when you go the extra mile, there will be people who will hate you for that, because it highlights what they don't do. So they can see your talents, even if you are hiding them. They can see your potential because they are operating from the realm of darkness. And we'll probably do a separate video on that in terms of why it seems like people who don't have good intentions for you can see the light in you. But you got to remember, just how you can see the evil in them, just how you can discern that, even if you don't have verbiage to back up why you feel the way you feel. Just how you feel uncomfortable around certain people, or you feel the need to put up your guard around certain people because you sense that they are not who they seem. You sense that they speak with a double tongue. You sense that they have a hidden agenda. Just how you can sense that from your godly wisdom, from their satanic knowledge, they can sense that you are a child of the Most High God, even if you're not walking around quoting scriptures. Because you know people by their fruit, not by quoting Bible scriptures. So your destiny disturbs Satan's agenda. So the enemy sees your calling, even if you don't fully see it. And the attacks intensify because you are being more and more intentional about walking in your calling and your purpose. Remember, you were a purpose before you were a person. You were a purpose before you were a person, according to Ephesians 2:10. You were God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do what? Good works. What's good works? Purpose. To do good works which God created when? Beforehand, before you were born. So before you were born, there was a purpose in mind that God had for you, and then you were birthed into time to fulfill that purpose in every season of your life. And so even if you don't see it, think about Joseph when he told his brothers his dream. So it started, he had this coat of many colors given to him by his father, so he had his father's favor. And then to top it all off, he has this dream of his greatness. And his brothers are offended by his dream. Do you know that people can be offended by what you desire to be? You haven't even gotten there yet. Because remember, this is just a dream that Joseph had when he was around 17. The dream doesn't come to pass until decades later. It does come to pass decades later. And so just the idea that you want to be somebody will offend people and bring out their demons. Just the idea that you want more. Just the idea that you want to live a life that is pleasing to God, baby, that's going to stir people all kind of ways. And so if you don't think you're going to have attacks, you are very naive. You cannot afford to be ignorant of the enemy's devices. In fact, the Bible tells us, do not be ignorant of the enemy's devices. Otherwise, Satan gets the upper hand. And so Satan may be trying to get in your mind to make you believe that your prayers are for naught, that you studying the word and living your life according to scriptural truth is for naught. But let me tell you, he's the father of lies, so you can't even let him get in your ear. You got to guard your ear gates. He is the father of lies. When he speaks, he is speaking his native language, which is lying. So when you realize that, right? And this is John 8:44. That's the scripture where it says he's the father of lies. So when you realize that, and you begin to have those thoughts, you know that your thoughts are not coming. Those thoughts are not coming from God. The thought to give up on prayer is not coming from God, because the Bible says pray without ceasing. The thought to not study the word, that's not coming from God, because the Bible says to study the word to show yourself approved. So if it's not coming from God, where's it coming from? So it's important to keep that in mind, that your destiny is going to disturb the agenda of Satan. And then last but not least, you're being strengthened through the struggle. And so certain battles are allowed not to break us, but to build us. Certain battles are allowed not to build us, but to break us. If you think of someone going into the military, where they have to go into basic training, right? They are learning how to use their weaponry. They are preparing themselves for an attack from the enemy. They have to know how to do these things so that in the event they got to go to war, they are fully prepared to fight. And so certain battles happen because you got to remember, God originated you. He created you with a calling in mind. And he knows that your calling and purpose is going to disturb Satan's agenda. He also knows that Satan's going to come after you with everything he's got. And so these battles are not to break you, but they are to build you. Every attack you survive is making you spiritually stronger, spiritually wiser, and spiritually more prepared. This is why when you look at people who have been through a lot of things, they don't crack easily. When you go through a lot of things, you don't crack easily because you know how to survive in a variety of circumstances. You don't let yourself get so cushiony that you can't survive during hard times. One of the things you'll hear me say about my grandmother is that my grandmother was a child of the Great Depression. And a lot of those habits, I spent a lot of time with her that she developed through the Depression, were things that she has shown me. And so when she was alive, there was a lot of us. We're a very big family. She had a lot of children, a lot of grandchildren. And we would have wish sandwiches. Anybody know anything about wish sandwiches? If you do, put a WS for a wish sandwich. So wish sandwiches was a sandwich where you wish you had some meat, or you wish you had some cheese, or you wish you had the peanut butter to go with the jelly, or the jelly to go with the peanut butter. Because all you had was 2 pieces of bread and the condiment. So it was 2 pieces of bread and mayonnaise, or it could have been a ketchup sandwich, a mayonnaise sandwich, it could have been a butter sandwich. It could have been a jelly. You might not have had the peanut butter and the jelly, so it might have been one or the other. Or if it was really, really tight, it might have just been 2 pieces of bread with nothing. But the reality is we are still very much alive. All of the cousins are very much alive. We had tap water. That's it. That's it. We had tap water. We had tap water. That's what we drank. No extras. And so because of learning those type of survival skills, among a lot of other things that she taught me, that I know that if times are very, very hard, and I've been through very tough times in my own life, when times are very, very difficult, I know how to make it on broken pieces. It's not my desire. Let me be very clear. That is not my desire. But if it comes my way, it won't break me. I can handle it. So just because we don't desire something, sometimes we go through that type of season, and we have to be able to know how to deal with certain situations without letting it break us, without letting it break us. And so I say that to say that when you were going through warfare, so maybe it's even financial warfare where you are being attacked in your finances. And the reason you will be attacked in your finances oftentimes, and we're going to take off the table that you're making bad financial decisions like spending beyond your means and buying unnecessary things. So let's say that you're doing everything that you know that you need to do and you're still being attacked in your finances. A lot of times that's an attack from the enemy. There's a spiritual component to it. So we're not like acting like we don't live in the real world with physical, tangible problems. So of course there's a financial element to it. Of course it's the rising prices as well. So we're not saying that that's not an issue. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is that there's another layer to it, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? So the real fight is not just what you see practically, but it's the principalities behind it, right? It's the powers behind it. And so when we believe that the fight is only what we can see, then we allow our emotions to take over, or we're only dealing with it on a surface level, not dealing with it tactically, practically, and spiritually. And so know that you are being strengthened through the struggle, because we're going to have some hard days ahead. Look at the rising prices of eggs. Just look at the massive layoffs. We are going to have some hard times, and you cannot fold. You got to know, how am I going to survive this? And so if you've had other struggles where you had to survive off of less, if you've had other struggles where you had to keep on keeping on despite, then you're going to be able to keep moving forward. I even remember when my son was young and I was going through a very hard time financially, and I could not even get like laundry detergent, right? My budget was that tight. I could not get laundry detergent. And so I used a bar of soap for everything, bars of soap for everything, washing clothes by hand, hanging them up on the hanger, and then putting them over the tub for them to dry. I cut a piece of the soap off to make them separate pieces. So there was another piece of soap that was to wash dishes with. And so a lot of times, if we don't have them old skill type, grandma type skills, it's very easy to crack under pressure. But when we have been through the muck and the mire, so to speak, we begin to prepare for difficult times rather than allow overwhelm and anxiety to overtake our mind, right? And so even with my grandmother, as I said, she had multiple grandchildren, right? And so when we were all there at the same time, it'd be 5 of us on the floor on a blanket. It might have been 6 of us on the floor on the blanket. And so is that what I desire? Of course not. But if I had to go back to that, for a season, it won't break me. And so this is what I'm getting at. There are going to be times where things are not going to be comfortable. What are you going to do as a believer? You got to stay strengthened in the Lord. You got to stay strengthened in the Lord. If any of you have ever been through some real hard times, what skills did you develop? Because that's really going to be helpful for someone who is really in the thick of a spiritual attack, maybe against their finances, maybe against their mental health, maybe against their emotional well-being. What did you do to keep moving forward? What were some tidbits that maybe you were taught or you just kind of figured out along the way, and it helped you to get through that season? Because that's going to help somebody else that's like, I never thought of that. That never occurred to me that I can make it on that, or I can deal with that if need be. It's not my desire, it's not what I hope for, but if I have to go through a season where I am in the wilderness, where I'm in the desert, so to speak, it's a season. If I have to go through the season, I will be able to go through the season without losing my mind, without losing hope, without losing faith. And so do know that that's why that happens. And so if you really want to begin to strengthen yourself for spiritual warfare, I am having a teaching. It's a 3-part teaching for the Wellness Club. And it is Spiritual Warfare Basic Training. It begins Wednesday, May 19th. It's going to be 3 parts. You'll see the flyer on YouTube in the community tab. It's also posted in Facebook for those who are connected to our Facebook group, and it's posted on my website, CassandraMacMinistries.com. The ministry website is posted there. And so you'll see the dates and times for that spiritual warfare basic training live teaching. So the teaching is going to be done live stream so that you are able to chat live, ask your questions live, share your thoughts live in the chat. So that's happening in the Wellness Club. If you're not a member of the Wellness Club, I would encourage you to become a member of the Wellness Club. So I always like to make sure that you know the resources that are available outside of the public video. So you have this resource, the public video. So that is a resource that you can avail yourself to. But the public videos only scratch the surface of the depth, breadth, and width of the level of teachings. And so if you want to dive deeper beyond what is available in the public videos, I would encourage you to become a member of the Wellness Club. The Wellness Club is a therapeutic group that meets the first and third Wednesday of every month by telephone conference call. So there's a private conference call number that you dial into. And we focus on mental self-care, emotional self-care, workplace well-being, and more through a biblical lens. And it is far, 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 far cheaper than therapy. And it is a therapeutic group, but Bible-based. So I would encourage you to make that investment in yourself. If you are not able to do so, then continue to enjoy the public videos. So the public videos are here if you're not able to do that as of yet. The other thing that I would encourage you to do is to pick up the book, Simple Prayers for Spiritual Warfare. So if you are dealing with spiritual warfare, this is an essential prayer resource for every believer, because this book equips you with powerful warfare prayers grounded in biblical principles so that you can stand strong and defeat the enemy whenever you sense that what you're dealing with is spiritual warfare. It's divided into 7 chapters that deal with 7 different areas of spiritual warfare. And there is also a spiritual warfare assessment where you can begin to discern and figure out if what you're dealing with, the situation or circumstance you're dealing with, is there more going on than meets the eye? And are you dealing with spiritual warfare? So there's an assessment you can take to help you figure that out. That's in the book as well. And again, that is Simple Prayers for Spiritual Warfare. We also have some Zoom workshops coming up for anyone who's interested in coming to our workshops. So on June 21st, we're having a Zoom workshop. These are ticketed events. And it is how to manage a difficult conversation with confidence, calm, and clarity. Sometimes you have to have hard conversations with people. Maybe it's setting a boundary. It could be dealing with some unresolved tension with a family member. It could be another conversation that needs to happen sooner than later, but is causing you a lot of angst. And so in this workshop, we're going to be walking through how do you have that conversation. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions, to interact with the group. And it also comes with a guidebook that can be used during and after the workshop. So that's happening Saturday, June 21st. And the information is on our website, CassandraMacMinistries.com. The link is also in the video description box. When you click on the link, it's going to take you to Eventbrite, where you can find out more about the workshop. And there is an FAQ that I would encourage you to make sure to read through the FAQs before purchasing a ticket, so that you're very clear on what the workshop will entail and what our policies are regarding our workshops. So you want to do your due diligence and read through the FAQs. So my workshops are required to be on camera. So if you are camera shy, then my workshop is not going to be the right fit for you, because you are required to be on camera to enter the workshop. The second one that's coming up after the Managing Difficult Conversations is Spiritual Warfare 102. So for those who took Spiritual Warfare 101, where we laid a basic biblical foundation for spiritual discernment, in the 102 workshop, we're going to go deeper. That's happening July 12th. And we're going to be talking about how do you discern spirits? How do you discern seasons, right timing? How do you discern environments? And again, you'll get a book that comes with that, meaning it's a workbook. It is a guidebook that's a digital download. So it's not a physical book, but it is an ebook that comes to you as a PDF file, which you then can print out. So that comes with all of the workshops. You get that. So with that being said, that's what we got going on for you. You're always welcome and invited to join us for fellowship at our Church by Phone Sunday service. It is no cost, it's totally free, open to the public. And you can find out more by going to CassandraMacMinistries.com, CassandraMacMinistries.com. You can find out more about coming to our Church by Phone Sunday service. So that's another free resource for those who are not able to be a member of the Wellness Club, or you're not able to come to a workshop. You can join us every Sunday for free at Church by Phone, and you can enjoy the public videos. So those are some free resources that we always have available for you. So with that being said, have an amazing day. Let's do our best to be kind. There's enough unkind, unhinged people in the world who want to take their madness and mayhem out on others, and we definitely don't need to be adding to that dynamic. Let's also do our best to be discerning and wise when we're out and about. Let's take our common sense and situational awareness with us. Please be safe. Please be safe when you're out and about. God bless you. Take care of yourselves, and let's be kind.